Hi guys and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MXGP 2020. It's now time for round 13 for Imola, the MXGP of Emilia-Romagna. So looking at the grids and away we go. That's a decent start. Don't forget we're going to be starting on the left hand side. We need to be going around the outside of many riders as we get massive contact there. I think that might have been Henry Jacobi or potentially Brian Bogus, but right now we are going into the middle of the sector of the corner. Here we go, up into turn 2. We're up into a wonderful position already into those podium positions, getting us ourselves maximum points for the championship challenge. We bump into the Pirelli tyre sign there, a little bit uncareful in that beginning part of the section, but we're all right, getting a bit calmer as things begin to unfold. But we do have Jeffrey Hurlings and Clement Desal, and there is Tim Geiser, the lanky Slovenian, who is desperate to claw back some points against the MXGP World Championship leader right now. Of course, the man with the red plate, number 461, DrAce, you know him as, but of course, my real name, Matt Grant. But now behind Clement Desal, number 25, Tim 43, Tim Geiser will be beaten going into the left-hander. I knew I'd be very, very strong going into that left-hander for the tight corner there. I love that section of corner. I love the MXGP of Emilia-Romagna. I think Imola is probably one of my favourite tracks as we give Jeffrey Hurlings the big don't argue. He's still there on the right hand side of your screen though, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll have to be careful on the right hand side as we try and slam the door shut into his face onto that very tight right hander, using the berm, and now into the right hander sector again. We kind of compromised our speed going over the jump, but looks like we still have the advantage going into turn 1 in just a moment's time. Yes, absolutely fine. So into the first corner coming up now. Do we still have it? In fact, we have a gap. I was going to question whether we had an advantage, but there's quite a gap brewing just behind us, so there must have been some sort of ruckus just behind us as we started this particular lap. So this will be the first actual timed lap right now that will go from the start to the finish of the lap, and Clement Desal, championship protagonist and rival, has taken a tumble just after the chicane. So not sure what's happened to the KRT man, the Monster Energy Kawasaki rider, down already at the very, very early stage of this Grand Prix, and look at the gap that has produced behind us. I do believe it's Jeffrey Hurlings who has decided to come on through with the Yamaha man. We'll get a better look in a moment's time, I'm sure, if he's confident enough to go for a lunge sooner rather than later. We'll take a look at the timing screens, and it is indeed the brand new MXGP 2021 World Champion, of course, Jeffrey Hurlings, just a few days ago. So amazing job for Jeffrey Hurlings in the real life as we Grant goes down dramatically. Huge moment there for the World Championship leader, as Jeffrey Hurlings has been inherited the lead. He has been gifted it from a little bit of a mistake and an error from the current World Championship leader. Now, I may have that red plate on, but it doesn't stop me from making the occasional mistakes every now and again. I'm going to have to dig down pretty deep to chase down the Dutchman. So it's 10 seconds plus 2 laps in a moment's time as we get on the left-hand side going over the finish line. So it's a 1:23.94 is the fastest lap from Jeffrey Hurlings. Ours wasn't quite successful, of course, due to that crash. We were actually slower than the original get-go and then across the line. So on the left-hand side, we'll go for a little bit of a jump here with Jeffrey Hurlings 1.677 seconds ahead of Matt Grant right now as we get a little bit too close to the apex there. Metal bumping against the dirt there wasn't ideal, and Clement Desal has gone down in the exact same position just a lap after. So KRT disaster for Clement Desal right now. But now onto the right-hand side, we can still see the Red Bull factory KTM rider in our sights just a little bit further ahead. I am pushing rather hard now in pursuit of the Dutchman, the new world champion, the 5 times world champion as of today, and now getting in behind him. We don't want to give him 6 in the sense of a virtual form, but 1.3 is the gap now to Jeffrey Hurlings. Can he take his 51st Grand Prix by taking the first victory here today in race 1? We'll soon find out as this race begins to unfold and unwind. So 0.8 of a second is the gap now between the Dutchman and the British rider. The 27-year-old man from Warrington, England, is extremely determined right now with carrying a lot of speed into that right-hander. We really closed in the gap on the Dutchman. So now a bit of a jump there and a chance to breathe almost. As we now get on the left-hand side, we'll try and see what the gap is in just a moment's time. So Jeffrey Hurlings sets us off for the final 2 laps of the Grand Prix of Emilia-Romagna for race 1, of course. And Jeffrey Hurlings is 0.8 of a second. We have a massive wheelie there. That was a little bit concerning, pushing down on the analog sticks a little bit too much as the gap has now been halved. It's been side through. It's just a 0.3 of a second gap as Grant goes around the outside, but Jeffrey Hurlings says, no thanks, pal, stay back. This is my race to win. So nice and tight to the apex there. Beautiful decision. I usually go for a wider line, but looks like Jeffrey Erlings' wide line did give him the momentum to go around the outside. So smartly done from Jeffrey Erlings. As Grant dives up the inside, do we have the chance to hold on now into the berm? We are ahead in the Grand Prix of Emilia-Romagna for race 1. Grant has the lead once again and is now pretty much in the contention of taking the Grand Prix victory if we hold on to this race 1 victory. Of course, another race coming up in just a moment's time, so stay tuned at the end of these 2 laps. But going into the left-hander where we met our demise just previously, it looks like we've turned it on now. We've heard of Cairoli time. Take a look at Ace time. The final 2 laps of the Grand Prix and races is exactly where Grant really strives. So doing a stellar job right now. Here we are. Oh, Jeffrey Hurling's gone down! Hurlings has gone down, he has dropped the bike into the right-hander there, and unfortunately, oh now Tony Cairoli's teammate has also done the same, and Jeffrey Hurlings has crashed for a second time! Goodness me! What on earth has just happened here in race 1 of Imola? Look at the gap we have now. We can pretty much calm down now and just relax till the end of this race 1. And what I've never seen that many crashes in one corner before. There must have been some sort of carnage brewing up from behind that really caused all this hoo-ha. But for the time being, it looks like I think I could sit back in my chair now and pretty much just relax. No more clenching in the control. I can just take it easy and just enjoy the commentary. So I have a little bit of a look with the third-person perspective. Now, I never do the third-person perspective, and honestly, every single time I go on it, it just doesn't look that good. So, back to the helmet cam for a change. Now, I'm hoping for MXGP 2021, which is right round the corner now, actually, ladies and gentlemen. 30th of November. So, I can't wait to see if it has improved in the sense of the feeling and the visual effects. From so far what I've seen of the brief gameplay trail, it does look better as we go a little bit too wide here. We're out of the track. We need to get back onto the track unless it's going to zoop us straight back to where we would have been. So thankfully we're still okay, and we will have the victory in our grasp in just a couple of corners to go. So wonderful performance here in Imola. I do feel like we're going to be very strong here in the second race as well, as Jeffrey Hurlings has crashed for a 3rd time. Goodness me, but Grant is your winner of race 1 here in Imola. So we'll look at race 1 standings. Grant takes the win with Jeffrey Erlings in 2nd and Jeremy Seawer on the podium. Glenn Koldenoff, Cairoli, Geyser, Febvre, DeSalle, Evans and Strivos finish up your top 10 here in Emilia-Romagna. So now it's time for race 2, looking at the grids, and away we go. Oh, a little bit too early. A premature start, but we do have the inside line for the Fox's hole shot. Who's it going to be? It looks like Hurlings has got it. Jeffrey Hurlings takes the Fox's hole shot. Beautifully done from the Dutchman on the left-hand side of your screen there as we make a little bit of a mistake. KRT rider Roman Febvre ahead of us as we get bumped into the left-hand side there. I think it was Tim Geyser as we banged metal just smashing into the side of us. Going to get a better look of him on the right-hand side. It was actually Mitchell Evans. My apologies to the Australian. Got it wrong there, but 2.5 minutes remaining. Of course, it's only going to be a 3-minute race here in race 2 of Emilia-Romagna for Imola as we get massive contact with one of the rides on the right-hand side there. Goodness me. Wow, how on earth did we stay on board? And not only stay on board, but how on earth did we have the fortitude to still continue and to push forward with absolute grace and vitality? Goodness me. So we're getting behind Roman Febvre now with Mitchell Evans, Jeffrey Hurlings, and I can't quite see who managed to get the first position. Wow, someone has really grabbed the bull with 2 horns and gone for it, so we'll see what happens going on the left-hand side. Very, very easy mistake I made on the previous race. It's actually Tony Cairoli in his final season, or at least not in the video game format. We still have him in MXGP 2021. But Mitchell Evans, whoa, scary moment. Scarier moment! Oh, goodness me! Mitchell Evans is not only taking himself out, but looks like the KRT man behind. Roman Febvre must have just sat up and bumped into the falling motorcycle. Goodness me, that was not what I expected in the Grand Prix. Race 2 of Emilia-Romagna, of course. Very, very scary stuff there here in Imola. Now on the left-hand side we will go for the lovely tight apex. Tony Cairoli is being pursued by both Jeffrey Hurlings and the Yamaha of Matt Grant. So on the left-hand side we will go, bringing on that acceleration up to about 60 miles an hour just before we slam on the brakes and go for the wider line. You see Jeffrey Hurlings went for that tighter apex and that paid off absolutely beautifully for Jeffrey Erlings. So good job for the Dutchman, the second man in the Red Bull KTM team, of course, with also Jorge Prado. And now Tony Cairoli has really let that gap go. So something has happened to the Italian, not looking his usual self as we get in behind him. The number 222, and now we'll try and get the big leap here and maybe go for a lunge either on the inside or around the outside. It's going to be on the inside, beautifully done, but the Red Bull KTM is still just briefly ahead. Can we dive to the inside and hold the position for the left-hander? Don't get too close to the apex there, and we're going to be absolutely fine. But 4.5 tenths of a second separates Jeffrey Hurlings and Grant behind, and a further half a second to Tony Cairoli. Not a bad Italian Grand Prix for Italian rider Tony Cairoli as of yet. He was leading the second race just moments ago, but we're now in pursuit of Jeffrey Hurlings, and it's going to be the same as we were pretty much by the end of race 1. 10 seconds and 2 laps remain with Jeffrey Hurlings into the lead, so the 2 laps will start as we just make a massive moment there, going into the wall. Not sure exactly what I was doing there. I got a little bit out of shape, didn't carry enough speed as we bumped into the billboard sign there. So now onto the right hand side we'll go, making sure not to touch the Pirelli sign, doing a little bit better. Shout out to the pit crew on the right hand side there. They're waving their man on right now as we make a massive mistake. They probably shouldn't have waved at all because it put me off, but damn it, we've made a mistake. Tony Cairoli into second place, and that actually puts our Grand Prix victory at jeopardy right now. Unless we get ahead of Tony Cairoli, we will not have a chance of winning the Grand Prix of Emilia-Romagna, so we must get ahead of Tony Cairoli, but then it'll go down to lap times. Of course, Jeffrey Hurlings, I think, set the fast lap time in the previous race as well, so if we're both locked on points, you better believe that Jeffrey Hurlings is probably going to come out on top rather than us right now. But Tony Cairoli is in our sights. We haven't really let him get away from us, and that's good news for us. But we're now going to the left-hand at half a second it is to Tony Cairoli. We are very strong into this final sector of the track. Cairoli went for the wider line there, not for me. I always like to go for that tighter line. So we now go on the right-hand side. Cairoli still on board the motorcycle. Same can be said for Grant, and the same can be said for your race leader right now, the Dutchman Jeffrey Hurlings. Wow, what a mistake that was, as Jeffrey Hurlings sets us up for the final 2 laps. Mentioned it earlier, I'll mention it again. Tony Cairoli has got the Cairoli time when those final 2 laps hit. What is the Italian going to do here in one of his home GPs? Into the left-hand side we'll go now. Can we get up on the inside? An aggressive move from the Yamaha man. That puts us back into contention for winning the Grand Prix of Emilia-Romagna. If you're not entirely sure how that works, race 1 points and race 2 points add up. And there you go. That is your position for the Grand Prix itself. The Grand Prix referring to the 2 races as Tony Cairoli goes for that inside line. We are really messing each other up right now. If we want either of us to get ahead and get back at Jeffrey Hurlings, we're going to have to stop with the infighting, but Tony Cairoli doing his teammates a fantastic service as of yet, as he is really defending for Jeffrey Hurlings. But here we go, across this sector time in just a moment's time. It's going to give us an indication of where we're going to be. It's 3 seconds to Jeffrey Hurlings. I might be good at the game, but I don't think I'm that good to get back at Jeffrey Hurlings. 3 seconds is another beast to try and sort of dethrone it. It's going to be very difficult. We'll see what happens in a moment's time. That's 5 tenths of a second taken away from the Dutchman, so not all is lost here. Let's see what we can do in the final lap in just a moment's time. Hurlings is still into the lead and very, very confidently leading with style, but we'll get a good indication in a moment's time as we cross that timing line. Left-hand side we'll go. Hurlings is now across the line. What is going to be the gap? It's 2.1 seconds, so 8 tenths of a second has gone to the way of Grant on that particular exchange. What can happen here? Going into turn 1, I feel very confident. Going into the next couple of corners, got to be, that lap has got to be, oh my goodness, that lap time, Jesus, the sector time is now down to 5 tenths of a second. The gap has disappeared in an instant, and not only just for myself, but Tony Cairoli behind as well. He is in pursuit now of a potential chance of winning this race. Jeffrey Hurlings has had a disaster on that penultimate lap, but now onto the right hand side we'll go. Tony Cairoli is not out of this either. 2 men who were absolutely brilliant in the final 2 laps of races. Jeffrey Hurlings has got his work cut out for him for sure right now. He is, oh my goodness, he has got so much pressure on his shoulders right now. Willie, Luke, what has happened? What has happened to Jeffrey Hurlings? He just stopped there. He just basically stopped in the middle of the track. Has something happened to Jeffrey Hurlings? Has there been a mechanical issue? Is that Tony Cairoli behind me in absolute searing pace? I hope it isn't, because Cairoli is going to be disastrous to beat. In fact, it's not Cairoli, it's Hurlings. So something's happened to Cairoli now. The KTMs have just absolutely blew it. The KTMs have blown it. What on earth has just happened in final race here of Emilia-Romagna. Race 2 victory is going to go to the man from England, and it's going to be a British man taking the spoils here in the Grand Prix of Emilia-Romagna. Round 13 of Imola is claimed by that man on your screens. So the end of race 2, the results are in. Grant, Hurlings and Cairoli on the podium. Koldenhoff just misses out with Tim Geiser and Jeremy Seewer. Evans, Simpson, Van Hoorbeek and Clement Desal finish up your top 10. So on screen right now is your Grand Prix results. Not hard to work out. The man in first position won both races and therefore is the ultimate and definitive winner here of the Grand Prix of Imola for the Emilia-Romagna round. Hurlings in second and Cairoli takes third place at his home GP of Imola. So there is a look at your World Championship leader and Grand Prix winner here of Imola, Italy. I hope you guys have enjoyed that one as much as I had making it. If you did, let me know in the comments section down below. And we do now have a pretty comfortable lead ahead of Tim Geiser and Jeffrey Hurlings. But that's going to be it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button if you did, and also consider subscribing as we're on the journey for 2,500 subscribers. But upon that note, guys, that's it from me. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.